Hi there, my name is Thomas. I'm representing investmentexcel.com in this session today, where I will show you how to calculate covariance and the covariance matrix in particular. I will demonstrate the covariance matrix and the covariance with some US stocks, and will also calculate a portfolio of US stocks in terms of its standard deviation and in terms of its variance. This video and the underlying Excel workbook are both available on investmentexcel.com and spotafile.com. Alright, let's begin. I will start with the inputs, and when we calculate standard deviation and covariance and variance for use in finance, normally we use the returns, but the returns in relative numbers, that is in percentages. But in principle, we could also do it in USD, in monetary terms. These figures here are randomly chosen, and they can be interpreted in this case as historical figures, so 5 days history. And the reason why I underline that they can be interpreted as historical and not as future expected returns is that there is a slight difference between how we calculate the standard deviation, which is the concept we use for future unknown returns, and the standard error, which is a term we use for historical and observed values. I will show you the difference later. But back to this input, let's call it matrix of Microsoft, Google, Netflix, Apple and Amazon, the heavyweights. Before we work out the covariance matrix, we will calculate the correlation matrix, and it's calculated down here, as you might know, or otherwise I refer to another session I've made on correlations. The diagonal in the correlation matrix is by construction a list of nums of ones. So Microsoft's correlation with Microsoft itself is 1, likewise for the other stocks. This is a key feature for the correlation matrix. Another key feature is that the numbers on both sides, if you look at it from a symmetrical point of view, they are identical. So this value here, for instance, let's call it in cell number 1, 2, is the same as here in number 2, 1. So there's symmetry. So sometimes you will see a correlation matrix like this, fully filled. Other times you will see just the upper part or the lower part of the matrix. Sometimes you might even see a matrix without the ones because it's implicit. So this is one way of looking at it, and the other one, of course, if I mark all the other correlations. Okay, so how did I calculate it? In this case, I use the Excel correl function, which is a correlation function, pairwise correlation function. So you type in here the time series between Google and Microsoft, and if you type it in here, all by turned around, it gives the same result. So correlation between Google and Microsoft is the same as the correlation between Microsoft and Google. If you have a large matrix of numbers, a large time series, you could use as well also the inbuilt function in Excel in data analysis,